Orlando, fought 10 intolerable days after Hurricane Maria trounced Puerto Rico. Saria Garcia finally got a call from her brother on the island. The call lasted 3 minutes and the news shook her. Her family had lost everything: jobs, houses, possessions, cars, and had spent days foraging for food, ice and water. Ms. Garcia, who lives in a small Orlando apartment with her 3 children, did not hesitate. "Don't even ask," Ms. Garcia said she told her brother during their conversation. "This is your house." Last week, they arrived, 2 brothers, their wives, and their 4 children, and plopped onto newly bought bunk beds. The family is one small part of a sudden exodus of tens of thousands of Puerto Ricans racing to Florida after Hurricane Maria, a migration so large it rivals those from New Orleans to Houston after Hurricane Katrina and from Cuba to Miami during the Mariel boat lift. The scale is larger than any previous movement of Puerto Ricans to the mainland, including the wave that arrived after World War II, said Jorge Duaney, the director of the Cuban Research Institute at Florida International University and an expert on Puerto Rican migration. "It's a stampede. More than 168,000 people have flown or sailed out of Puerto Rico to Florida since the hurricane, landing at airports in Orlando, Miami, and Tampa, and the port in Fort Lauderdale. Nearly half are arriving in Orlando, where they are tapping their networks of family and friends. An additional 100,000 are booked on flights to Orlando through December 31, county officials said. Large numbers are also settling in the Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach areas. With so many arriving so abruptly, the migration is expected to transform Orlando, a city that has already become a stronghold of Puerto Ricans, many of them fleeing the island's economic crisis in recent years. The Puerto Rican population of Florida has exploded from 479,000 in 2000 to well over 1 million today, according to the Pew Research Center. The number of Puerto Ricans in Orlando was 210,000 in 2014, according to the Center for Population Studies, and since then the count has risen rapidly as more arrived during the economic crisis. The impact of this latest wave is likely to stretch from schools and housing to the workforce and even politics. Puerto Ricans, who are American citizens and tilt Democratic, could sway the electoral results of one of the country's most pivotal swing states. Local officials and nonprofit groups are already concerned about a scarcity of affordable rental housing in the area, a long-time problem with no quick fix. They are also worried about the eventual strain on schools, which will need more bilingual teachers to handle a large number of mostly Spanish-speaking students. The area's 2 county school districts, Orange and Osceola, have taken in 3,280 new Puerto Rican students since the hurricane, 70% of the Florida total, according to district officials. So far, the Orange County Public Schools District has hired 20 teachers from Puerto Rico, and 10 more are close to being hired, said Barbara Jenkins, the superintendent. The local governments will also have to help a steady flow of elderly Puerto Ricans and special needs children whose care and predictable routines were upended.